Gill, Nahum chapter 1, verse 5. Reading from the King James Bible first, quote, "The mountains quake at him, and the hills melt, and the earth is burned at his presence. Yea, the world, and all that dwell therein," unquote. Gill, quote, "The mountains quake at him, and the hills melt, as Sinai of old did when the Lord descended upon it." Exodus 19, verse 18. Mountains figuratively signify kings and princes, and hills large countries, as Jarki and Abarbanel observe, and the inhabitants of them, particularly the kingdoms and nations belonging to the Assyrian Empire, which would tremble and quake, and their hearts melt with fear, when they should hear of the destruction of Nineveh, their chief city, and of the devastation made by the enemy there and in other parts, under the direction of the Lord of hosts, his power and providency succeeding him. And the earth is burnt at his presence, either when he withholds rain from it, or so it comes parched and burnt up with the heat of the sun, or when he rains fire and brimstone on it, as he did on Sodom and Gomorrah, or consumes any part of it with thunder and lightning, as he sometimes does. Nay, if he but touch the mountains, they smoke. See Psalms chapter 104, verse 32. Yea, the world and all that dwell therein, as in the last day, at the general conflagration, when the world and all the wicked inhabitants of it will be burnt up. See 2 Peter chapter 3, verse 10. Scripture, quote, "The mountains quake at him, and the hills melt, and the earth is burnt at his presence. Yea, the world and all that dwell therein," unquote. King James Version. End of Nahum chapter 1, verse 5.